So even though Steffi and Kelly say that Judge Nathan Erasmus is biased, the audacity of these two, but we're neither here or there. This video, I want to show you a moment where you do see that the judge is actually very fair, very, very fair. This is the cross-examination of Dr. Marcel van der Waard and cross-examined by Mkabayi. And it's very difficult. Okay, it's paragraph 12 of his report. Mkabayi is allowed to ask the same question multiple times. Nobody's understanding what she's trying to say, myself included. Okay, myself included. But basically, she's trying to highlight. She's trying to ask the doctor to give in his evidence or to point out in the evidence before the court where Steffi, okay, accused number 2, there is evidence in the court for his role in the abduction of JOSHLIN. I mean, this is quite confusing. I don't know why she's posing that question to the doctor. There's a lot of back and forth with regards to that. Judge steps in and tries to get clarity out of Mkabayi. She proceeds. Judge does want the answer, though. At the end of the day, the judge also wants the answer because what? The state stands up, which is Prosecutor Swanepoel. She stands up, tries to object, and the judge says, overruled, continue Mkabayi. So in my view, the judge is very, 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 very fair on both sides, whether it's the state or defense, even though they're having difficulties with understanding where Mkabayi is going with this. She's given more than enough leeway to clear her path, to make her sentencing more clearer, to make her question more clearer. And the judge ends up saying, why are you even asking this question? Like, she again, because Mkabayi points out that you have not seen the victim, who is JOSHLIN SMITH, you have not interviewed JOSHLIN SMITH, and you also don't know where JOSHLIN SMITH is. So how can you possibly say that accused number 3 has a role in the abduction of JOSHLIN? To me, that makes absolute no sense. None at all. The judge jumps in and he then finally overrules Mkabayi, lets her know that the question is disallowed because what are you doing? What are you doing? But let's go ahead, let's watch this together. Let me know your thoughts on what you see. Maybe you see it with more clarity, but the purpose of this video is to highlight Judge Nathan Erasmus and how fair he is to all inside that courtroom. In fact, I want to read you a comment, and I think it summarizes this all very, very well because Steffi and Kelly are quite arrogant. But the comment says, how can the accused say Judge Nathan is biased? That judge is also watched closely by us viewers nationwide. And if he was found biased, the whistle would have been blown at his direction. Everybody was treated fairly in the trial, as well as the public that sat and viewed the trial. I 100% agree with this. On occasions, Judge Nathan did reprimand the media for not following court procedures and rules. Even the accused were treated with respect from Judge Nathan. The accused, though, thought all along that the judge favored them because he treated them with dignity and respect. It's us, the viewers in the live chat, that were cursing the accused, not Judge Nathan. No suspended sentence for all of them. The community is angry and someone already burnt down Kelly's house. And that was a warning for the accused. Let me know your thoughts on this comment in the comment section down below. But I 100% agree with it. And I, for one, if Judge Nathan was biased, I, for one, would highlight it in my videos. But yeah, my only concern is the speediness he's going through the trial. But at the same time, it is in the best interest of justice. It's in the best interest of the community to get this concluded as soon as possible because there's still a lot of anger. 1 year later, there's still a lot of anger. Check out the woman who burnt down the house, and that's just a representation of one person, but there could be multiple feelings in the community. Let's continue listening on. I'll be back with the rest of my commentary.
7 of 2013. Section 14 of the Partnership Act provides aggravating factors that the court must consider, which include, but is not limited to, the following: the significance of the role of the
Listen,
convicted.
Mkabayi, is it really necessary to read? You can just refer him to the paragraph and ask the question. Is it really necessary to read the whole paragraph?
I'm not reading the whole paragraph, my
Now
lord.
ask the question, please,
I'm going
because
to the
it's
question.
there. Just ask the question.
In paragraph A states the significance of the role of the convicted person in the trafficking process. Now, when we tie that paragraph A with evidence in this court. Is there any significant role that we know that the accused persons before this court they played?
Sorry, my lord, there is a little bit of a breakup. My understanding is that the question revolves around section 14A, the significance of the role of the convicted persons in the trafficking process. So if that is correct, I know that there's a question that's followed. I just want, if that question can just be repeated, I'd really appreciate that.
The question was whether you're aware of what role the accused persons, plural, not only relating to Ms. Mkabayi's client alone, played in relation to that factor. You've discussed all these subsections under 13 of your report. And I thought that in reading the report the other day when I received it and listening to your evidence this morning, that's where you set it out. Or am I wrong?
That's correct, but not all of these are covered. The ones that follow.
No. You, after you listed A to L, you said in the report, considering the case before the court, the relevant factors will be considered and it will be blended. And then on the 13, you then deal with all these subsections that's relevant to this case. And then you discuss the evidence and the role played by the accused, plural, in the matter. That's how I understand it. So, for example, when you deal with the significance of the roles played, it's to be found at the bottom of page 18 of the report, where you say, in terms of section 14A, and then you deal with that, and then you say the facts show, and then you proceed and it goes over onto page 19. That's how I understand the evidence.
That's correct, Mike.
And that's what I saw in the report and in your evidence that I heard this morning. And there's a lot of repetition, of course, because it's not limited to one factor or the other. Sometimes it overlaps.
Yes.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Mkabayi. You may ask the question. Because I don't know whether you and I are looking at the same report. Because if you just turn the page, you see the whole discussion from where we were.
I'm still going to the discussion, my lord.
Now just get there, please.
I'm still on paragraph 12. My question is pertaining subsection A of your paragraph 12.
Mm-hmm.
The list of those conditions or those circumstances or factors, those are the list from the Act. Faculty. Now my question to you is, can you tie subsection A to the facts of this case, the case of JOSHLIN?
Did you hear the question?
The question is tying subsection A to the facts of the case. Is that correct, my lord?
Yes.
Yes, my lord. So I can do that. There's a big focus, obviously, on accused 3, but the roles of accused 1 and 2 and the 2 and 4 witness was clearly explicated in the heads of arguments and the summary of the different testimonies by the witnesses. So whilst that was not done in that granular detail, that's definitely something accused 3 was clearly, where this germinated, where this started, and accused 1 and 2, and by extension, but the 2 or 4 as well, was intimately aware about the plan. So there was, obviously the court did make a finding about the common purpose between all of them working together. So I think my question is maybe, is the question to go through each one of these accused now that relates to section 8, my lord, is that a question there?
I don't know. You can repeat the question or clarify it, Mr. Mkabayi, so that I also know.
Paragraph 8. As one of the factors or circumstances from the Packaging Act. 1. The significance of the role of the convicted person in the trafficking process. Now I'll limit my question. I'll make it very clear and brief to you. Do you have any evidence that my client, Mr. Van Rey, played any significant role in trafficking of JOSHLIN?
May I please object to this question? My lord, the witness clearly deals with this, as explained in paragraph 13, in the pages to follow.
Well, I'm going to allow the question, and it's up to the witness to refer Mr. Mkabayi to the report that we all had.
As the court pleases.
Thank you. The witness may answer the question. Objection is overruled.
Sure. So my response to that was that, again, I think I would refer to the mosaic of evidence and the constellation of circumstances, which are common purpose, that there was clearly a cohesion there that implicates accused 2 as well. I mean, it's probably a separate conversation about the degree to which accused 2 was in the weeds of the planning, but I think from the evidence that I had access to, my lord, all 3 accused were convicted, and again, constellation of circumstances, and accused 2 was an active part in that calculation.
Let's go to B. Is there any evidence before this court that Mr. Van Rey has a previous conviction of trafficking in persons?
Previous conviction, not that I'm aware of. No, I don't have any reports that I have access to about any previous convictions by any of the accused.
You haven't seen the victim, you haven't interviewed the victim, you don't know the whereabouts of the victim. Now let's go to C. C is whether the convicted person caused the victim to become addicted to the use of the dependence-producing substance.
Ms. Mkabayi, on what basis are you asking that question? I'm asking you a question now, so you may answer me.
On the basis, my lord, that I want to know whether the factors that are listed on the Packaging Act, there are about 15 factors, are they relevant? Or is there any evidence proving those factors?
The witness never mentioned a word in his analysis on sub C. If you have read the report, which I hope you did, he deals with A, J, F, G to an extent, and I, and he interblends them. That's in the report. So the question you ask is not allowed because it's not part of this witness's evidence. And it's clear, the question was already asked and answered, the context of listing the factors from A through to L. The question is disallowed. For the reasons I've given.
My lord, even if the court is saying this is not in his evidence, but this is his report.
I have made a ruling, Mr. Mkabayi. I'm disallowing the question.
Thank you, my lord. Can we go to D?